Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your heart will light the way. Show me the way. You guys can think these words back to me. Show me the way. I feel it. Your love will light the way. Nam, 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 namaste. Nam, 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 namaste. Namo, 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 namaste. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your heart will light the way. And nam, 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 namaste. Nam, 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 namaste. Namo, 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 namaste. Nam, 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 namaste. Nam, 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 namaste. Namo, 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 namaste. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light the way.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa. And let's give some more love to Christopher Ritchie here, who I don't know if you're here for our Christmas Eve service or you caught it online. If you didn't catch it at all, you can catch it online still until the end of time, actually. I think it'll live on our website because they just did such an amazing job with the music. So I wanted to give some extra love there for Chris and for the band and for all of the singers who they're not here today, but they were with us on Friday night. So thank you. I am Reverend Russ Laguerre, and I'm glad to be here with you today. If you're joining us for the first time or the first time in a long time, welcome, and welcome to our live streamers. We're so grateful to have you here. And if you're wondering what's going on at the center, you can always find out on our website, www.cslsr.org. And we are so thankful that you've been honoring our safety requirements. It's because of you following those requirements that we're able to have our in-person 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. services. And we're just so grateful for that. So, and a friendly reminder, just be sure to keep your mask on at all times while you're in the building. There are several ways that you can contribute financial support to your center, and there's actually a new way. What? I know, and I actually don't have the thing here, so I can't give you, oh, here, see, Edward's kind enough to, thank you. Yeah, so you can give online on our website, you can send us a check, and there will be baskets at the exits today, but we have a brand new way that I think, Dr. Edward, are you gonna say anything when you do that? Yeah, all right, so we have this fancy way of giving. It's called text to give, and it's brand new for the new year. And all you do is you can text $sign followed by the number 1 million to 707-675-2399. And that will give you instructions if it's your first time to sign up, so you can use whatever payment method that you want. And then next time, you can just pull out your phone and put in whatever whatever it is that you wish to give that day, and it just does it automatically. It's super cool. So there will be more on that when we get to our offering, but we're really delighted to give you that option there too. And the reason for that is because we are a community-supported organization, and that means that this is your organization. It exists because of your contributions, because of your time, your talent, and your treasure that you donate to us. So we're so grateful for that because that allows us to offer this service amongst so many other things to you. Now, at the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. It is known as the global vision, and it calls us to imagine a world that works for everyone. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with the divine and connection with one another. It's a world in which, individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness in action. And we follow this vision through 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching. And the first is spiritual study, which expands our understanding through reading, learning, investigation, and honest self-reflection. The second is affirmative prayer, where we use the power of our word and consciousness to creatively connect with the divine. And we'll hear a wonderful example of that from Reverend Tara Steele in just a moment. We practice meditation in its many, many forms, which helps us to increase our awareness and experience of that divine presence through contemplation, concentration, and focus. We practice spiritual circulation, which we just talked about, that new way of giving here. And finally, we practice selfless service, which is the spiritual practice of serving others without expectation of reward or a specific result. And now, in the spirit of community, you've probably noticed these beautiful flowers here. Within our community, we use flowers to send messages of love to one another. And today, our flower dedication is for Carol Seymour. And this is from her family, and they've provided these words here today. Carol Seymour, beloved mother, friend, and emeritus practitioner, passed last Christmas, at home surrounded with love, kindness, and family. Her superpower, a keen sense of humor, inspired deep, joyful belly laughter, community, and love and acceptance. Mom, Mama, Carol, your love and light live strong in us, and we miss you. So let's give our love to Carol Seymour and these beautiful flowers for her family here today. So I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, prayer practices, and Dr. Edwards' message today is exactly what you need to experience for the next step in your spiritual unfoldment. You are welcome here. Please sit back and enjoy the service.
Hello, I'm Tara Steele, Community Minister here at the Center. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you and settle into that place within where there is peace, there is love, there is infinite possibility. I know that all that is that one power, one life, one all in all in all, beyond our wildest imaginings, and intimate, personal, the essence of each one here today. As I know this truth, I know the perfect unfolding of this community spiritual practice today, that each one here is here on purpose, matters, and participates in the sacred experience of presence. Let us for a moment rest in that stillness, that perfection. aware of this truth, knowing it is alive moment to moment to moment, I simply celebrate it and am grateful for it. I release this word into the law, into love, knowing it accomplished, and so it is. Now, if you would please listen to and take in this month's affirmation from our prayers of wisdom and vision. I now surrender all false ideas and enter into a state of pure awareness of the joy and light of Spirit. I am made new in this light. And so it is.
I've seen my share of struggle when I thought that I knew best. When I got a big old frog in my throat. Let's try that again. I have seen my share of struggle when I thought that I knew best. When I sailed through the storm instead of stopping to rest. And it always seemed the hardest when I made up my stubborn mind. Well, I'm changing my ways this time. Wanna be like water coming down the mountain into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head upstream no more. I am bound for the sea. Have you ever seen an eagle head straight into the wind? He doesn't pick a fight, spreads his wings and just gives in. And in the end he always makes it home just fine. I guess he knows that every storm subsides. Wanna be like water coming down the mountain into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. Oh, I'm bound for the sea. I'll let nature take its course. No more thinking that I know where this river's meant to go. I have railed against the stars for the cards that I've been dealt, for the lottery I've never won, for the heartache I have felt. But it always seemed when I let go of expectations and regret, life has plenty of surprises for me yet. Wanna be like water coming down the canyons into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head upstream no more. I am bound for the sea. Wanna be like water coming down mountains into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, I am bound for the sea.
Good morning, and thank you to the band. Thank you so much for warming us up. I almost felt like doing a quick two-step on the way. Quick step, fast step, something step. Two-step, that's what it is. We used to do that. We used to have the fifth Wednesday of the month, we would rent a hall and go and learn to do line dancing together as a community. It was outrageous. Hello, beautiful people of the center. Our theme this whole year has been a journey of self-discovery, which is appropriate because our purpose at Centers for Spiritual Living is to awaken humanity, ourselves, first, to our spiritual magnificence. And that's what we've been doing all year. And then today's topic is the light of a new dawn, appropriate for the end of the year. Well, as I was getting ready to talk to you about this, of course, the news came across the oceans and continents about the passing of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the Most Reverend Archbishop Desmond Tutu, which is an epic event, a historic event. And amazing that it's happening here at the moment when we're thinking about what's coming next. Now, I can't imagine that anybody on the planet doesn't know who Desmond Tutu is. But just in case, and as a way of paying tribute to his legacy, he was the epitome of the anti-apartheid hero. He took a stand from an incredible place of moral justice for that nation, and he became known as the nation's conscience among black and white people alike. And in my opinion, he seems to have been the center of praise and criticism from every direction, from every part of the nation and the planet for his position, but he was as constant as the northern star. It is typical for people who take a stand, a moral stand, that they are both adored and vilified. And he was among liberals and conservatives, and again, every population group in South Africa and beyond had an opinion about him. Nevertheless, his work prevailed, and he was eventually recognized with the Nobel Peace Prize for his non-violent resistance to the white minority rule in South Africa. So he was praised for that, but he was also criticized for being too accommodating of the whites. So, he couldn't win for losing, but indeed he won at the end in that he stayed true to his inner truth. In 1985, he became the first black Anglican bishop of Johannesburg. Epic. And then in 1986, he became the first black Anglican bishop of Cape Town. Everybody wanted him then. And then the first democratically elected president of South Africa appointed Archbishop Desmond Tutu to be the chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That was epic, in that it brought to the world the atrocities that were committed in South Africa and allowed people to tell their stories in a forum without fear of retribution. It became a model, this Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the world. It was thought that many commissions would emerge. What happened was it was so heart-opening and so tender that a lot of the follow-up to the commission was stalled while that healing ground had to be traveled through. But he was the chair of that commission. For me, he is a hero for additional reasons, in that he was the voice, the advocate for what became known as the Rainbow Nation in South Africa. He pushed for that. Well, he spoke to it. He advocated for it. He had a vision of a nation that included everyone and excluded nobody. Sounds like the global vision, doesn't it? He had a vision, and so as the bishop of Johannesburg and Cape Town, he ordained women priests. Not only that, he advocated for and promoted LGBTQ clergy. And one author wrote about him, perhaps he was the world's most prominent religious leader who advocated for LGBTQ rights in his time. like a lone voice in the wilderness. He spoke. He spoke for our global vision long before we even put words to it. It's a bittersweet moment in history because we have lost an icon, a hero of important cultural change, moral change, and according to our theme, looking forward, what we have gained is an ancestor with a legacy that he gave to the world as it entered into the 21st century. One writer said this about him: the greatest legacy, perhaps, of Desmond Tutu was the fact that he gave to the world, as it entered into the 21st century, an truly African model for expressing the nature of human community, which is inclusivity. And he did his best to include and not exclude. Indeed, he tried to bring elements of indigenous African spiritual practices into his Christian tradition. What a magnificent expression of life. We have an ancestor now. The person who wrote the outline for today's topic, Light of a New Dawn, is Reverend Day, is her last name, and she's from Southern California. And not knowing that Desmond Tutu would pass away this morning, she wrote these words: I am the ancestor that future generations will speak of. And meeting the ancestors of the future is as easy as looking to the person next to you, in front of you, in line at the store, delivering packages to your home, marching in protests, speaking out, living their lives. You, beloveds, are the future ancestors. Who you are and what you do and what you say now directly impacts and affects life in the days and years to come. What you think about humanity and how you treat yourself and others speaks volumes about the kind of ancestor you will be remembered as. Will you be the ancestor spoken of as blazing the trail of growth, or the bridge burner? You never know, when you're making memories, how impactful they are for the future. So what are you consciously creating right now? We at Centers for Spiritual Living envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. What is your part in it? So I read that and I thought, I can take my inspiration from the great heroes like Bishop Desmond Tutu into my heart as a memory. But perhaps what I can also do is be inspired to look closely at my life as I live it every single moment with this thought of being an ancestor for some future generation. How important is it for me to include someone? How significant is it for me to recycle that something? How important is it for me to stand up and speak to injustice? And how will that create and is creating a future for everyone? When I think about Desmond Tutu's personality and character. I was always fascinated by him, by the exuberance and the joy and the seeming inability for the world to derail him. That's an inspiration for me. I would frequently be struck with awe at his presentation and wondering if I could ever be like that. Well, however it is I am being, whether it is as grand and as spacious and as visionary as him, or as ordinary and as everyday as I sometimes am, what remains important to me is that I bring that which lives in me out through whatever it is that I'm doing, and to call that enough, but to not abandon it. Our theme for next year is living everyday wonder, by identifying and seeking out those things that do cause us to pause with awe and to integrate that, like the life of our role models and our heroes who have contributed to where we are right now, like the lives of our ancestors, and to continually through the year look for that element of awe and wonder, whether that's in our work or whether that's in our relationships or whether that's in this or that. And so the whole year is designed to help us stay on target. Now we're calling it awe and wonder, but you know we're talking about the divine. Next year is a treasure hunt for the divine. And we have created for every single person a journal, Living Everyday Wonder, that is an opportunity for us to stay together, whether we are in person or online, where we can take notes about the message that is given. So every single message is laid out, and there's opportunities for you to create intentions, thoughts about the message. Now, if you are on our mailing list, you received one. And if you are two people in one household, you only received one. So for that reason, we have others for the other person in your household that you can pick up today. Not only that, if you are not on our mailing list and you'd like to be, and I'll tell you why that's important, you can pick up a add me to your mailing list note, complete it today, give it to Linda Han, and we will make sure that you are on our mailing list. And the reason for that is we're sending these out in short batches. This is January to April. Then we'll send out the next batch later on in the year and the next one. So we don't send you one big bulky journal, but something that's very easy for you to carry around, bring to service, or open at your coffee table at home, know what we're talking about, read the affirmation, and take notes of your own, create your own reflection and direction. So this is a wonderful way to journey together. In journeying this way next year, I want to also encourage you to establish a daily spiritual practice that supports you in staying on track with your work. It's wonderful to be together in spiritual community and watch the service and listen to the music. It's what happens afterwards or before that is part of the bigger picture. I've been talking to people about my practice, and so many people have been joining me online. I wanted to share it with you. I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and prepare myself for a moment of reflection and prayer. And as I mentioned at the Christmas Eve candle lighting service, when 6 o'clock comes and I go online on Facebook Live, I light a candle. Now, if you want to join on Facebook, you don't have to be a Facebook user. You don't need an account. You can join anyway, and if you want to know how, just send me an email, edward.viljoen@cslsr.org, and I'll show you how to do that. Or if you are on Facebook, just send me a Facebook message with Messenger, and I'll show you where it's located. And then you can receive the notification at 6 a.m., your spiritual practice has started, or you can watch it later. But the first thing I do is I light a candle. And I'm going to do that now because you'll notice that in the ceremony of light, the action of lighting a candle, there is already built into it something contemplative and peace-bringing. The very first step of the spiritual practice, according to our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, is to take time, at least twice a day, and to sit alone in quiet. Now, alone doesn't mean not with other people. It means in your own awareness, dropping the distractions of the world as much as possible, reducing the things, events, and sounds around you that might tug at your awareness, leaving be the plan for the day for a moment. And then I use the candle flame. I just look at it for a moment. It's like a focusing device. I was about to say there's nothing magical about it, but indeed there is. It's rather mystical. And I just look at it. And if you want direction, I've been using this book, How to Change Your Life, by Dr. Ernest Holmes, in which he has a chapter entitled How to Give a Spiritual Mind Treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. And here are the instructions. Take definite time, at least twice each day, to be alone, to sit and to compose your mind and think about the divine. Try to arrive at a deep sense of peace and calm, then assume an attitude of faith in a power greater than you are. Isn't it interesting, the impact of just that invitation? Even in this room right now. So for a moment, I just sit and think about the divine, which itself is an ongoing, ever-evolving, endless job, a task. Because right now, what I know of the divine will be different from tomorrow, and as I expand and grow and notice different things, it'll evolve. But for today, to think about the divine. Let's look at the example from our prayers of wisdom and vision for the example. Everywhere is beauty, love, joy, light, power, and the abundance of all good things. Everything has its source in the one divine thing itself, which is everywhere all of the time. It is the Creator expressing as the creation. Beautiful. And so, if you have words of your own, or perhaps you just have a feeling, the idea is to sit a moment with the candle and to compose my thoughts about the divine. And then the next instruction is for me to identify myself with this divinity as best as I know how. And the same for you. Here's the example. Creation's energy of goodness vibrates through me. It resonates deep in my center. Everything about me is connected to it. The abundance and goodness of creation flows through me and flows through every person. It's an expression of unity with the divine. And then take a moment again. I like to look at the flame again and just to feel those words. And then the next instruction is to then work with some affirmative statements about the focus you wish to be working on. He gives examples. Maybe it's about being in alignment with harmony with the world. Maybe it's about personal happiness. Maybe it's about solutions to things that confront you. Maybe it's about an experience of success, etc. So here's an example, for example, at this moment in the prayer. Let's focus together on the experience of happiness. Here are words he suggests. Every thought of not being wanted or of being afraid, every thought of uncertainty and doubt is cast out of my mind. I rely on the divine alone, in whom I live and move and have my being. A sense of happiness, peace, and certainty flows through me, and I have confidence in myself because I have confidence in the divine. I am sure of myself because I am sure of the divine. And then to sit again with the words for a moment, especially to get the feeling of it. And typically the feeling is one of gratitude. And it becomes appropriate to just say some words about that. I feel a sense of gratitude now. I'm celebrating this prayer moment and the realization that's taken place. And then the final step is to let it go, to let it be, which sometimes we say with one short phrase. And so it is. Now, since Dr. Holmes wrote these instructions, we have spent a lot of time organizing the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment, and we teach them. But the reality is that there is no wrong way to do morning devotional. Indeed, you might want to pick up something like 365 Science of Mind, a year of daily wisdom from Ernest Holmes. And indeed, I'm starting on January 1st with this as my morning devotional. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever encountered this, sometimes the world gets to me before I get to my morning devotional. Like this morning, I made the big mistake of reading the news before I lit the candle. Right? And then the mind is so filled up with other thoughts, so it takes a moment. So sometimes it's useful to have something. So this, for example, is beautiful. It's 365 short readings that are enough to recenter the mind. So I light the candle and I read it. Like, for example, thinking of Bishop Tutu's commitment to nonviolence, I stopped upon this piece by Ernest Holmes talking about the wisdom of Gandhi and his non-resistance approach to social change. He said, Ernest Holmes, that there is something flowing in, around, and through all things that nothing can resist. This is the something that the great and the wise have always known about and used, like Bishop Tutu. But too often our way is the way of resistance. We try to change the outer without changing the inner. You see, I could sit for an hour with that thought and just let it sink in. And then I sit quietly with no agenda and no plan. And then I know when it's time to stop sitting, as you will. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, it might be half an hour. And if I can get to my spiritual practice before the world gets to me, I am in a better position to get at least through halfway, 3/4, without forgetting the way. That is why the instruction is, take definite time at least twice each day to be alone in your thoughts and to sit down and compose your mind and to think about God. If I can get the first one done, I'm likely to do the second one. Once I start skipping, here's what happens. The world is so fascinating and beautiful and compelling that the world, seems to want all of my attention. And so I have to be like I am with like another practice, like going to the gym or eating. I have to be definite. So that's why for me, knowing my personality, I must put that alarm on every morning. It goes off at the same time. And I must sit down at the same time. So I'm a little rigid with myself because I know me. Do you know you? Do you know what you need to put in place in order for you to have a higher chance of staying in your spiritual practice? Here's what I know. Come to the center, tune in. There's inspiration and meditation, there's music, there's beautiful prayer, there's connectivity. And where do you come in? Where's your part? Where is your embodiment of your spiritual practice? That's where the gold is. That's where the treasure is hidden. So that if you haven't already done so, consider next year the process of moving from a spectator to a participant. So you see, you can create your practice in any way that works for you. More important than the form is the regularity. So that your practice has a definite place in your life is going to be important. That's why the journal, that's why the regularity. Oh, I mentioned this morning. I was in a strange environment, a different environment, not strange. I'm house sitting for one of my best friends who had to go out of town to take care of family matters, and he and his family have 2 dogs that cannot be left alone because they are advanced in years. So I said, yes, I love dogs. I'd love to do that. And then I got up started my practice at 6 o'clock, and I noticed, this is not my usual environment. This is not my same chair. This is not where the candle usually goes. And I realized, oh, I've fallen into that practice, which is lovely, because now the chair that I sit in has the feeling of practice. The candle where I light it has already got a feeling around it. And it reminded of my own dog, Quentin. We train him in the kitchen to do what to respond well. As soon as we change the environment, do it outside, suddenly he's not as well behaved, as responsive. And I said, oh, that's true for me too. So one of the things I'm looking at now is, well, I certainly do want to have a same place, same time, same bat cave. And I also want to learn how to practice anywhere. Like the reading said, in the supermarket, when somebody's delivering a package, when I witness news that is disturbing or uplifting, I want to be able to find my way as easily to that place of calm that I do when I'm sitting in the same seat at the same time. So next year we'll be journeying together. Now, because it is the day after Christmas, and because our founder loved and respected the central figure of Christianity, Jesus of Nazareth, and because he has a whole chapter in the textbook, the Science of Mind textbook, entitled Finding the Christ, I thought I would close our time together with this particular meditation of Ernest Holmes, a practice of its own. So imagine with me that you are lighting a candle right now at home at the time that is appropriate for you. And you may not be a morning person, but in your mind's eye, imagine you're lighting a candle. And then you pick up your Science of Mind textbook, page 365. And first you read out loud or to yourself quietly, "Holy, holy, holy, in a presence great and mighty, in a light that shines divinely, in a life that lives completely, in a joy that smiles serenely, in a peace that flows so deeply, in a calm, untroubled, happy, in a love that gives so freely, in a truth that never fails me, in a power that holds securely, in an eye that sees so clearly, inner ear that hears the divine always, inner voice that speaks supremely, inner good that binds me to thee within. Holy, 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 divinity within me. And then just take a moment with me to let those words settle in. Letting the next breath you take be a little deeper than the one before. As we exhale, we use that motion of breathing to help make the transition to the next activity in our service. With eyes gently opening as gently as they were closing a moment ago, so that we can be present together for what used to be our offering time. We would take a moment to pass the basket, and now we've had to move into a virtual way of receiving. As you heard Reverend Russ say, we have numbers of ways to continue to receive your support to keep your center healthy and alive. There are baskets at the door. If you wish to drop something in the basket, you can go online to our website and click the donate button, and you can also pick up this little flyer on your way out with the text to give number on it, because it's a lot to remember. And if you pick this up the first time you text it or add it to your contacts, you'll have easy access to it. I tried it out. It was rather fun. I put the $ in the amount and I said, send, wondering what would happen, and I got this friendly message back saying, oh, you look like you're a first-time giver using this system. Let's walk you through a simple registration process. And it was rather friendly and fun to do. And now I know I can text to give wherever I am in the world, and it feels rather contemporary and modern, and I'm glad we're catching up with the world. Many of our centers have been doing this for years, so in some regards we are late to the party with this, but we are getting there. Still, we don't like to just skip over this moment of support. So I invite you to take your hand and place it on your chest as a symbol of your heart connection to the center. Remember with me of a moment where you supported this center. Perhaps you sent in a check. Perhaps you remembered it fondly in your prayers. Perhaps you spoke affirmatively of it to someone. Perhaps you volunteered. Perhaps you came to a service or you watched online. And then remember with me a moment when this center and its people and its programs was there for you. Perhaps it was a class. Perhaps it was a piece of music. Perhaps it was a conversation. Perhaps it was something you heard that impacted your life. And then let us just feel our gratitude, not only for each other and the center, but for our own selves too. Thank you. And now Reverend Russ has some community news to share with us.
Can we give some love to the wonderful Dr. Edward? Thank you. So I was sitting there in my own spiritual practice during that talk, and I was feeling this connection, and it reminded me, and it's I think a good reminder too that we just went past the birthday of Jesus of Nazareth, that he once said, "Where two or more are gathered." And I wanted to call that out in these announcements because what I know and what I've experienced in my own journey is the power of doing these spiritual practices together. So certainly we can do that in the morning, we can do that, alone and have our alone time, and that's important too, but there's a real power in us coming together in community and sharing of this divine consciousness together. So take that into your heart as we go into these announcements here, because there's a lot of opportunities for you to participate, for you to be in spiritual practice with one another, especially as we go into the new year. So the first part, well, of course, I'm gonna put that one right at the end here because that's not doing things together. But the first announcement that I wanted to give you, an opportunity for you to come together and practice, is you can join our wonderful Reverend Tara Steele on Zoom from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on the 4 Wednesdays in January for our lunchtime learning discussion of Mary O'Malley's book, What's in the Way is the Way. And it's such a wonderful title, isn't it? In particular, we are going to delve into the introduction, Your Transformation Begins, and Chapter 1, It's All Okay, It's Truly Okay. We will explore how to meet our experiences in a new way, unclouded by fear or judgment and infused with an abiding sense of ease, trust, and openness to all life. Wow, that sounds fabulous. So the Zoom link for lunchtime learning can be found on our website, and you can also find it in our Zoom bulletin. You don't need to sign up for that. You can just pop into that class as you feel called, and I know it's going to be wonderful. I'm just looking at the titles there. It sounds really amazing. Also, another opportunity for you to join us in spiritual practice is coming up this Friday, December 31st at 4 a.m. Pacific time. And I say that again, 4 a.m. Pacific time. And the reason for that is because that's when we are joining the worldwide world peace meditation. And we're doing it that time because that is right when all of the time zones line up at the same time for it to be December 31st. So you'll have the opportunity to be in spiritual practice with people all around the world and to meditate on world peace, which is certainly something I think that was near and dear to the heart of Reverend Desmond, Archbishop, I can't say words today, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, this whole idea that we are one and that peace is the default. It's not something that we get, it's something that we realize within one another. So if you would like to find out how to join that, you can check out our website. You can also contact Vivian Strand at 707-953-1917, and we look forward to seeing you there as well. Finally, we've got a number of wonderful education offerings that are coming up in January, and a couple of classes that begin right in the beginning of January too. So we are offering Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, which Reverend Scioto Bell will have a video up here explaining that class in just a moment. Reverend Tara Steele is also teaching a class called Jesus in the 21st Century, which sounds super cool. And that's also starting in January, so be sure and sign up to that if you are called to it. I am teaching Blind Spots in February, which is a new curriculum that I've developed to help us to find those blind spots that might be preventing us from feeling and experiencing that divine one within. Journey of the Soul with prayer practitioner Betty Smith, Mental Equivalence with Reverend Joyce DeFala, and Non-Dual Spiritual Teachings with Dr. Kim Kaiser. They're all coming up, and they're coming up very soon. So those registrations are all open on our website, so you can check out. You can see all of the different descriptions of them and sign up for whatever calls to you. You can also find the registration on our website by scrolling down on our front page and clicking on that Register for Winter 2022 classes link. Finally, please note that the center's offices are going to be closed starting tomorrow, December 27th, through January 1st, so that our staff can have some much well-earned downtime over the holiday. So it's not that we want to leave you, it's that Christmas Eve is a lot. It's really a lot. I see, yeah, Chris is laughing. He's like, I don't think anybody did more than Mr. Fritchie here in coordinating all of that. So you got to give him a round of applause there. But we will be back, and we are there. You can call the main line too if you're looking for support in that week. So please don't feel like you're left alone. There are ways for you to get connected. We also have the overarching CSL Center for Spiritual Living prayer line too that is operated, throughout the week. So there are many opportunities for you to get connected if you're looking for that. And that's it. I've said far too much. I think it's time for us to move on to a video. Yes?
Hi, my name is Laura Honda, and I, along with many, many people from Zariki School, would like to thank the Center for Spiritual Living for your support. It means the world to so many children at Zariki School. My husband Alan and I first went to Tanzania, and we visited Zariki School in 2016. After walking through the village and seeing the people in their little village with their dirt floors in their homes and what little they had and how happy they were and how appreciative of everything at the school, we decided we wanted to go back. My husband wanted to build a classroom, and I wanted to go back and volunteer in this school. Unfortunately, later that year, my husband passed away. And so in his name, my family and friends were so generous and donated money, and we built a classroom there in his memory. In 2018, my family and friends went there to dedicate the classroom and to volunteer. We brought books and fabric and sewing needles and games and math manipulatives and science equipment. And we had such a great time volunteering with these children. These children were so beautiful and so appreciative and so happy to have us helping them, that we were so happy being there. Again, the only books they had in their library were books that we brought. We helped them sew their very own book bag, and the smiles that they had, they were so happy to have their own book bag. And some of them have no shoes, and some of the only meals they have are the meals provided at the school. So the school teaches in English, and therefore they do not get paid by their government, because the government only wants to support them learning in their native languages. But they teach in English because they know that the children's future could be more successful. There are many jobs in the tourist industry there as guides for people coming over from America and Europe. So there's a big push for them to learn English. And so again, therefore the school doesn't get the support of their government. So they're dependent on donations. So your donation from the Center for Spiritual Living is extremely appreciated. Often these teachers don't get paid, and they only get paid maybe $200 a month when they do get paid, the teachers. So they appreciate this money so very, very much. And I can't thank you enough. And I want to invite you on a trip. We are going again to Tanzania, to Zariki School, to volunteer in the year 2022 in June. So if any of you there at the Center for Spiritual Living would like to join us on this trip, it would be fabulous to have you go and see for yourselves these beautiful children and see what a difference you have made. So thank you so, so much.
I'm Reverend Sayota, and my 5-week class, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, begins January 8th. We meet on Saturdays from 9 to 11:30 a.m. Each of us has a direct line of communication with Spirit in our heart and mind. Together, we will find and amplify this connection. This is an experiential class with light reading and plenty of time for sharing in small group. Dive deep into the divine, make new friends, and co-create with Spirit the life and world you desire. And I hope you'll join me.
Now it's time for our benediction and closing music. Won't you again know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything that we do and say and think, we pay tribute to this presence within. And so it is. And if there is something incomplete in you, or if you cried yourself to sleep last night, or you would just like some support and affirmative prayer, please go and take advantage of our after-service prayer. There is a link for it on our homepage. It's a separate Zoom room where trained prayer practitioners are waiting to tell you the truth of your being in no uncertain terms. If you're online, you can go directly after the service, or if you're here, you can tune in, maybe even on your way to the car in the parking lot. The practitioners are there waiting for you to take your prayer. It's after both services. Thank you for being here. I'll see you again next week, and please enjoy the closing music. Thank you.
So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making